This week in Jamaica Now, Finance Minister announces $15.9 billion tax package. The opposition calls it deceptive. Financial analyst says the new tax measures will restrict economic growth. Court documents indicate cops got U.S. visas too. And Fly Jamaica Airways takes to the skies. Hello, I'm Heather Cummings, and thank you for joining us. The Finance Minister, Dr. Peter Phillips, has sought to justify the $15.9 billion revenue package he announced in Parliament on Tuesday. In addition to the new tax package, the Finance Minister has announced that over the next 4 years, the National Housing Trust will contribute $11 billion a year to the government's coffers. According to Dr. Phillips, the new measures are a sacrifice that the entire country will have to make to cut Jamaica's huge debt, now at 140% of the gross domestic product.
I cannot understand, and certainly any justification for any stakeholder in the community that means Jamaica well to withdraw support from a national effort which has been successfully developed and launched, and which stands at the heart of our very survival as a nation. The success of this effort requires that all hands be on deck.
And here are some of the new tax measures. The inclusion of the telephone calls tax as part of the GCT base. An increase in the education tax rate. An increase to 15% in the tax on dividends payable to residents. An increase in the local stamp duty rate and transfer tax on properties. And the inclusion of all fees and taxes paid at the ports as part of the GCT base. Meanwhile, the announcement of the taxes has infuriated private sector leaders. The head of the private sector organization of Jamaica, Christopher Zaka, the president of the Jamaica Manufacturers Association, Brian Pengelly, and the president of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Francis Kennedy, say they feel betrayed. They say in their meeting with the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister at Vale Royal on Monday afternoon, there was no indication that the new taxes would have been announced a day later. And financial analyst Ralston Hyman says the measures will further restrict spending and stifle economic growth.
No, this is likely to have a contractional effect on the economy, because it's not that the government is going to use these resources to expand the country's capital stock. They'll be using it to meet the primary surplus charge, which is servicing the debt. So as a result of that, it means that aggregate demand will be further weakening.
What is meant by aggregate demand?
Total spending by household, spending by business, and net exports. Net exports, as measured by the trade deficit, is already negative. Simply translated, the country is sending more money abroad than it is getting from abroad. And this now, the tax packages will further weaken the spending by households and by businesses. So it means that if every sector of the economy is spending less, including the government, it means that the economy will be further weakening.
In an update on a story we've been tracking, the two brothers who were charged in connection with last September's rape of 5 females in Irwin Point, St. James, were on Thursday offered bail in the Western Regional Gun Court. They were granted bail after it was revealed that DNA samples from the crime scene do not match the ones taken from them. Karen and Sheldon Brissett are charged with rape, wounding with intent, and illegal possession of firearm arising from the incident on September 24, 2012. They were offered bail in the sum of $500,000 and ordered to return to court on March 4. The nation reacted with shock and horror after 5 females, including an 8-year-old girl, were abducted from their home and brutally raped in an open lot. There's another development in the U.S. visa bribery scandal. Jamaican policemen have been listed in court documents as benefiting from American visas in the case involving a United States State Department security officer. News broke last week that a Jamaican musician and his manager were involved in a bribery case involving Rainsberger, a State Department security officer. Rainsberger has pleaded guilty to related charges and is to be sentenced on April 19. The court documents say not only the Jamaican musician granted a U.S. visa, but the accused may have assisted or helped to deny visa requests for other musicians and law enforcement officers. Fly Jamaica Airways took to the skies on its first official flight from Kingston to New York on Thursday morning. Director of Tourism John Lynch was among the more than 100 passengers, including Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority personnel on the early morning flight. More than 180 passengers were scheduled to make the return flight. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Please continue to share your thoughts with us at online feedback at gleanerjm.com. Tune in to Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter at Jamaica Gleaner and like us on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Heather Cummings, inviting you to join us again for another edition of Jamaica Now. And as we go, we bring you the views of Jamaicans on the new taxes announced by the Finance Minister, Dr. Peter Phillips.
I see it as a part of the strategy that the government is employing to fulfill the requirements of the IMF.
Tax a kill way. We can't find food for my picnic. Right now it's hard and wicked out here. Sell me and sell and see it, then no money. Tax a kill way.
I think it's a good package to help the country, to help us to finance the debt that we have, because we have big debt.
Finance minister them, and the whole of them, I don't like them.